Hey everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to Money Conversations with Mars. I am Marshall Weeks, also known as Coach Money Mars. Want to thank you all who tuned in on Monday, but you noticed the technical difficulties. Apologize for that. Sometimes these technical things happen and we have no idea. So I just want to thank you for hanging in there. And this is what I talked about on Monday. We talked about the 50-30-20 rule. So here I am again. We are going to believe that this is going to go over without a hitch, no technical difficulties, no delays, and no rebuffering. So the 50-30-20 rule is one of the ways that you can manage your money, how you can budget your money. So if you've wondered, how much money should I set aside for this? How much money should I set aside for that? It just helps to like a guideline of some sort that you can use. Now, I always say you have to chew the meat and spit out the bones. I don't believe that any one person has the absolute right way. You have to do what works best for you. Because if you are a 1099, you are the solopreneur, your income may come in at different times. It may be sporadic. For the W-2, you may get paid every 2 weeks. You may get paid monthly. So you have to really, again, look at what you have going on and make the adjustments that way. I'm going to give the percentages again as a guideline. However, if your budget allows you to, add more in one area than another, or maybe you don't have everything that belongs in a certain category, you can, take some of that money and put it in a different category again. That is up to you. I will say it again. There is no one way to do this because money is an individual thing. What may be a lot of money for you may not be a lot for me, and vice versa. Sacrifice for me looks different than the sacrifice for the next person. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm a big believer in not judging people. We often feel that if someone has a lot of money, depending on whether we like, because one thing I've noticed in conversations with people, if they like the person, certain genre, culture, category, they'll be okay with these people having money. But if they see another culture, race, or category, pedigree, what have you, if they have a lot of money, then that's a problem. Which again, I'm gonna tell you something, and it may be controversial, but you know that book called the Bible? Did you know that it works for people who never step foot in a church and don't even believe in Jesus? Did you know that there are certain laws that exist on this earth that was created by God, and they're gonna work whether you walk into the church or not? So the people who have access to the book, who are supposed to be reading the book and have the relationship. That's why I always say we have to look at what we're doing and stop looking in somebody else's backyard. That probably comes across tough, but I feel like once I learned these things and I had to examine myself, why am I upset because this person has money? Why do I feel that something that's important to me, an issue that's important to me, why am I telling or saying that such and such with the money in this world ought to be taking care of that? No, ma'am. No, that's incorrect. I need to go to God and ask him, why am I so passionate about that topic? And God, is that what you have put in me? I know that you gave this to me, so you need to show me what to do with this. How can I do my part? Because he gave us all assignments. So what may be important to one person may not be important to me, because that's not my issue. God did not give me that concern. Do you see what I'm saying? So money is a personal thing. However, we all are supposed to be good managers of what he has provided, especially if we truly believe that everything belongs to God. We're going to learn how to be good managers. And I feel like we are good in areas. Sometimes we fall short, whatever. It's a lifelong learning process. Just like we renew our mind in the word for everything across the board. We have to put money in that. People want to believe God for their healing. People want to believe God for a spouse and believe God for the car. But let's believe God for great money management skills, right? That's wisdom. You know how there are certain things that the Holy Spirit just tells us to do. You know, we can go to God. We're supposed to go to God, but for some stuff, we're supposed to know better. You know what I mean? So let's hop into that while I hop off my soapbox. But that's a very real topic, and that money mindset behind why we do things, why we think things, holds us back if it is not appropriate. And as long as we're judging other people, talking bad about other people, their money, and how they got their money, we don't know the whys, the hows. And the CEO is wealthy, he's self-employed, as he should, carrying the whole company on his back. And the reason why the employees aren't making the income, that's up to them. The job determines salary. Individuals determine their income. We got to remember that. So anybody who's going to work, and if they're tired of making whatever hour salary that is, then that's up to them to do something about it. We live in America. Where else can you go and just come up from the bottom? We have droves of people killing themselves, getting arrested, risking their family to come to these United States so they can make it. And then, being that it is still Black History Month, but we're going to be Black 365, and we're going to go dig in the crates. Go back and look at the history, and you will see people who have come from literally nothing. People who had to create the straps for the boots, pull themselves up, and we are walking on the path that they blazed for us. So again, it's controversial. The topic might make you feel uncomfortable, but we really have to look at how we pick and choose who we're okay with having money. And that's not right, because we don't know what God told somebody else. Remember, our thoughts are not his thoughts. Our ways are not his ways. And our minds cannot comprehend what he has allowed to happen. He's going to get his will done regardless of whether his people do it or not. It's plenty of people. And when you certain things in that exist, these laws, they're invisible, that exist in this earth, you do certain things are just going to happen. And there is any control over that. It's just that we have to learn. For those who are interested, we have to learn those things. We got to open up some books. We got to read. And we have to take the steps, be patient, and do the things, plural. Get over the fears, plural. Get over the bad habits, plural, so we can get what it is that we want to get, make the impact that we want to make. All right? Okay. Now that that's over, I am going to share my screen, and I am going to show you a whiteboard, which I thought was pretty cool. Technology is amazing. And I am going to show you the 50-30-20 rule using my whiteboard. So if you would bear with me while I share my screen. It's coming up, it's coming up, it's coming up. And I am still here. It probably did slow down a bit, but let me show. All right. The 50-30-20 rule. All right. What is the 50-30-20 rule? It is a way to budget your money. It is a way to make certain categories so that you can evenly divide your money, or not evenly, but put the percentage of money toward the important things. So I'm sure you can guess, at 50%, what is the most important thing? What on earth could take up 50% of the money? It is our needs, right? We all learned about needs and want. So you want to take 50% of your money and put it toward the needs. What are needs? Utilities. We need to be able to see electricity. We need running water, showers, baths. We need gas for heating and air. Um, you know, in Georgia, we pay for it all: electricity, gas, water. Some places, this might be included in your rent or your mortgage, depending on where you live. So I don't want you to pay attention to that. You can deduct that, or you don't have to include that. However, your utilities are set up, right? Just look at it that way. Next, we need to eat. That's important, right? We need to eat. So we want to buy food. If we have a car and we are working, it is very important that we make that car payment and then we have gas. My mom used to tell me, if you can't afford the gas, you can't afford the car, because who buys a car in the working class to sit and look at it, right? We actually drive the vehicle. Now, some of us are at the point, and I know some people, they buy cars, they fix them up, they're pretty, and they only take them out once a week. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the car payment for the vehicle that we have to drive to get the money to pay the bills. That is a need, right? What would not be a need is wanting a new car. That would be in the wants category. And the wants category is the 30%. But let's stick to the needs. What else do you need? Utilities, food, car payment. What about the roof? We need a roof over our head. So what is that? Rent or mortgage? Very important, right? This is what we're putting our money towards. Now, some people, I have been asked, like, I don't know what to do because, I lost my job. I don't know what to pay for. I don't know what to do. Tell me where to begin. You need a roof over your head. You need some food. You need some lights. So if you're on a real slim budget, you need to start there. Everything else is secondary after that. All right. Some may say insurance goes on this side. Whatever your insurance is. So let's say your monthly car payment, that's a necessity. If you get pulled over in certain states and you don't have insurance, you might obtain fines and you could go to prison. That's not a good look, right? Because then that's another bill. That's a whole other bill right there. Court costs, this cost, processing costs, all of that. So we want to make sure we have the insurance in place for the vehicle. Makes sense? Okay, now let's move over to the 30% column, the wants column. What do we want? What do we do? Streaming services are a want. Eating out. So we're not saying that you should not be able to do these things. What I'm saying, what this rule is saying, is the percentages should make sense. So you shouldn't have 50% of your income going to your wants and only 30% to your needs. Does that make sense? Or 20% to your needs and 50% to your wants. I'm sure we all know people who live like this. They really spend the majority of their money on wants, not understanding that those are, you're supposed to put the money toward the needs. And can I raise my hand and be the first one to say, once upon a time, I was like that. But you can imagine I was much, much younger, really had no sense of money. And just, wow, we grow, we get wiser, we have families, everything changes. Thank God for wisdom and life experiences, right? Streaming, eating out, shopping. These are wants, okay? New car. If the regular car is working, we don't need to get a new car payment, right? If things are not in order. Does that make sense? Let me show you something. I was thinking about this the other day because I am believing God soon I'm going to get a new car, and I want that new car to be fancy for no reason. It is not going to be economical. That's going to be a gift to myself. Now, I'm not ready for it yet, right? But I want to show you something that came to mind when I was driving, pretending, right? Because you got to believe it. You got to be able to see it. So I was in the car driving, but in my mind, I was seeing the car that I want to buy, right? And then it dawned on me. Let's say someone makes $80,000 a year. Okay, this is their salary, not their take home. This is salary. Because I want to show where we have been caught up over the years. We got to think about this. And then we go buy a $50,000 car and we riding good. We look real good. And this $50,000 car has $100 oil changes a month. What's 100 times 12? Let's see it, right? Because you feel it when you see it. Okay. What's the car payment on a $50,000 car? Probably between $400 and $500, right? So let's just say $450. Add another 100. That's $550 a month. You're paying for a vehicle. Your salary is $80,000. That car payment or the car is $50,000. Depreciates soon as you drive it off of the lot. And then you have an ongoing car note and oil changes, not to mention tires, the rotating of tires. They're charging you to do what? Tune ups, all sorts of stuff, right? How much do you have left of the salary? $30,000. Remember, that's not even take home. You can take that salary down to the net, and that's going to be like between $50,000 and $60,000. Taxes and benefits and all that stuff. Do you think this is smart? Look at that. Do you think that's smart? When you only make $80K, that's your salary, not your take home, and you have a $50,000 car with ongoing expenses for so you're talking about 5 years of this, 5 years of that. And it would be a real shame to purchase that vehicle and can't afford this. So now your car is going to be run down. It's going to break down because you can't keep it up. So these are the things that we should be thinking about before we go getting a new car. Can we afford everything that comes with the car? Like I said, my mom would tell me, if you can't afford the gas or the keep up, you can't afford the car, because it's not separate. It's a package. It's a package deal. Okay. So again, I had to put some music on in the background because I'm like, when I come talking about money, people don't want to hear it because it's a real thing. And I'm not here to, take away anybody's dreams. I just want you to understand what it is, the decisions that we make and how it can hurt us, how a good thing can really hurt us and put us behind the 8 ball. Okay. So let's move on to 20%. What is the 20% for? The 20% is savings. We want to put 20% of our income into savings. Now, whether that be retirement, if we have 401k at work, or what is it, the 401, what is it, the B, 403B, I believe it is. Correct me in the comments if I'm incorrect. I've never had this before because I've always worked for private companies. So 401k, if they're matching, if they're giving away free money, you're taking the money. We don't leave money on the table. Also, when you contribute to your 401k, you are decreasing your tax burden. So make sure you put money into the 401k. If your company does not have a 401k, you can do a Roth IRA. I am not a licensed investment specialist yet. YET. I'm working on that. I'm very excited about that. So interested in that, right? We leave so much money behind. You can get this if you cannot have a 401k or you're a 1099. Open one of these. That's really, really smart to do that. And I'm going to leave that there. Now, what if you're saying, okay, we talked about the needs, we talked about the wants, we talked about the car that we want to buy, but we're going to wait on that. We talked about 20% in savings, but where does debt fall in? So here's the deal. Remember how I said everyone's situation is different. So if your needs, maybe you not put 50% to your needs, and maybe you do 40% depending upon how much you have. Your expenses may be low, and then take 10% of the income and pay off debt. You can adjust these numbers. Remember how I said this is not the gospel? You can adjust these numbers. I just wanted to show you an interesting way, I thought, on how we look at the money. We have to understand needs and wants. That's like a huge, big thing. We have to understand that a streaming service is not necessary. Now, I think this falls in line right with what we were talking about on last week. And we talked about last week in knowing what we want, taking our plan before God and saying, hey, God, this is, what I think, but what do you think? I wrote everything out because I wanted to be clear with my ask. This is what I would like, but your will be done. Because he may move some steps in a different order. He's always looking out for our good. So we may want to do it ABC. He may say, no, go C, D, E, F, go back to A. Like I said, our thoughts are not his thoughts and our ways are not his ways, right? So we have to do it how he wants us to do it, because when we go, raising my hand, I'm going to talk about me. When I go off and do things the way I want it to be done, sometimes he'll take me right back to where he told me to start. He has a sense of humor, and he knows how to deal with his children, and we're all different. Again, that's why we should keep our mouths off our brothers and sisters. I'm learning to be like, all right, I'm overstepping into an area that I know not of. That's not my business. That isn't my business. I don't know what God said to them. I just know what he told me. And I got enough going on to not be in other people's business. And you know what I'm saying? Let me stay out of their bank account, because let me worry about what I have going on, right? So 50-30-20 rule. I hope that's been helpful to you. You can Google this rule. Everyone has something different to say. The needs categories are pretty much the same, but the wants category, I found it interesting how some had streaming services, others did not. Again, the 50-30-20 rule in budgeting in general is not so people never have fun, or you can't do this, or one of the things that I'll talk about is, make it about the value of our time. So here's something I'll throw out there, which is controversial, right? Couponing is a waste of my time. Why is couponing a waste of my time? Because first, the coupons are for food that we don't eat. We're not big pantry people. We're fresh and frozen people. When have you ever seen a coupon for fresh vegetables? I don't think I've ever seen. So we pretty much just shop sales or have the stores in mind for certain items, And thankfully, where we live here in Georgia, for the most part, those of us, even if we live in different counties and then in different cities in the counties, we all pretty much have a variety of stores to go to, which is a plus, because, it isn't fun when you have to go to the one place when such and such is having a sale on X, Y, and Z. We'll talk about, coming up about not wasting our time, for pennies, because we have to know that our time is more valuable than saving 10 cents. Does that make sense to you? But we'll get into that. We'll get into that But I hope you enjoyed this. I always enjoy spending time with you. I love talking about this stuff. It helps to keep me accountable. And again, anything that ever helps me, I always love to help other people. If you have any questions, please reach out. Coach Money Mars here with you. Have a great evening. I am having a hard time finding here we go, folks. See you next week.
Ain't ashamed of trying to make a ways now. Money, 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 money.